Today we're going to take a little time and we're going to cover order of operations. So you do have a standard being able to compute fluently with rational numbers, standard algorithmic approach, that's adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Remember, you don't need to write this down. So our vocab today is just order of operations, and an order of operations tells you which operation to perform first when a numerical or algebraic expression contains more than one operation. You know this as PEMDAS. Some of you have probably heard, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." This just helps us to remember that order. So first are parentheses or brackets. Basically any kind of grouping symbol is done first. You work inside of that. Once the inside of parentheses or brackets are cleaned up, then we go on to exponents. Simplify any terms with an exponent. Then we multiply and divide. Remember that multiplication and division are done from left to right. And finally, addition and subtraction also done from left to right. So multiplication doesn't necessarily happen before division if division comes first in the problem. Same with subtraction. You don't always add first. If subtraction comes first, that's what you need to do first. So left to right for the last two steps. So we're just going to look at some examples where we simplify the expression. So make sure that you write the problem down. You need to always make sure that you're showing your work as you go through these so that if there's an error, I can help fix it. So for number 1, we have 15 minus 2 times 3 plus 1. Subtraction, multiplication, and addition. The first thing we want to do is multiply. So we're going to write 15 minus 6 plus 1. Now we have subtraction and addition. These are done left to right. So 15 minus 6 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. In example 2, 12 minus 3 squared plus 10 divided by 2. We don't have any parentheses or brackets or grouping symbols, so we're going to go on to the exponents. So we need to simplify 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9, so it becomes 12 minus 9 plus 10 divided by 2. Now we have subtraction, addition, division. We want to do division next, so 12 minus 9 plus 5. Subtraction and addition, we go left to right, so that is, and I'm just going to move over here, 12 minus 9 is 3, bring down the plus 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. Number 3, we have 8 divided by a half times 3. Remember that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And this one, I'm going to move this whole problem over here so I have some more room to work. So instead of writing 8 divided by a half, I'm going to change the problem to 8 times 2. Remember, we do keep the 8, change division to multiplication, flip 1 over 2, which is 2 over 1 or just 2, and then we have times 3. So left to right with multiplication, 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 3 is 48. And I know maybe we're not 100% or we can't remember the rule for dividing fractions, but again, dividing by a half or dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Number 4, we have 5.4 minus 3 squared plus 6.2. So again, we want to take care of that exponent first. 5.4 minus 9 plus 6.2. 5.4 subtracting 9, that's what we do first because we have subtraction and addition and they're done left to right. So 5.4 minus 9, if you have to do some side work, remember if we do adding the opposite, we need to subtract 5.4 from 9 to get the right digit first. 8 minus 5 is 3, and it's going to be a negative 3.6. Negative 3.6 plus 6.2, again opposite signs, so we need to subtract again. 6.2 minus 3.6. 12 minus 6 is 6, 5 minus 3 is 2. We get 2.6, positive 2.6 as an answer. We probably won't see a lot of questions yet with decimals and fractions, but we should be comfortable enough with adding and subtracting them that this is a problem I do expect you to be able to do and understand. Number 5 is negative 20 divided by a bracket, and inside the bracket is negative 2 times 4 plus 1. When you have multiple sets of grouping symbols or brackets, parentheses, you got to go all the way to the innermost one. So that's this 4 plus 1. So I'm going to recopy everything down as I go until I get to the part of the expression I'm simplifying. 4 plus 1 is 5. Now outside of that, now we have multiplication within the bracket, so negative 20 divided by negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And I'm only keeping the parenthesis here so we don't forget the negative symbol. Negative 20 divided by negative 10 is positive 2. Six and 7 are a little different. 6 has a fraction. Remember, fractions are division, and it is one of the last steps. But before we actually can divide, we do need to take care of the numerator and the denominator separately. So I'm going to look at the numerator. We have multiplication and addition. We want to multiply first, negative 8 plus 22. And on the bottom, we want to do the exponent, 16 minus 9. Now we do need to do addition and subtraction here because you can't divide until you have a number on the top and the bottom. So negative 8 plus 22 is 14, and 16 minus 9 is 7, and this reduces all the way down to 2. 14 divided by 7 is 2, or if you look at it as a fraction, 2 over 1. Number 7. So we have absolute value. Recognize this is not a bracket or a parenthesis. This is absolute value, which means we do need to take care of what's inside this absolute value. It is considered a grouping symbol. So inside the absolute value, we have exponents, addition, and division. We're going to do the exponent first. So that's 16 plus 8 divided by 2. Still inside the absolute value, 16 plus 8 is 24. But we don't do that first. We do division first. So 16 plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now we have 3 times the absolute value of 20. The absolute value of 20 is just 20. Remember that had this number inside been negative, we would have made it a positive because that's absolute value is a distance, and you get a final answer of 60. You're also expected to be able to evaluate expressions using order of operations. So we have 10 minus x times 6 on number 8, and I'm telling you that x equals 3. So we're going to do 10 minus 3 times 6. Your very first step should be plugging in the correct value. This is showing your work. I don't want to see you just try to write an answer here because it makes it really difficult when things are wrong. So we have subtraction and multiplication. We are multiplying first, so it becomes 10 minus 18, and 10 minus 18 is negative 8. If you do same change, you end up with 10 and positive 8, or 10 and negative 18. Those signs are opposite, so you have to subtract to get the right digit. 18 is bigger, so your answer is negative. For 9, it's 4 squared. We're going to plug in the negative 2. Take care inside the parentheses first. So 4 squared times 1. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1, positive 1. Nothing to do here with this parenthesis, so now we go over to the exponent, so that's 16. 4 squared is 16. And now remember, when you have a number next to another number inside parentheses, that indicates multiplication, and 16 times 1 is 16. So I know I went kind of fast in this video, but order of operations I know you were introduced to in 6th grade. They just are a little more complex now, so more steps, maybe some fractions you might see, or decimals. We're definitely going to be involving integers now that we've been working with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. And in class we'll work on the order of operations worksheet.